Welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your hosts, Jeff and Steve. G'day, mate.
Hey, mate. How are you?
Good. We're talking about shift work and the impact that it has on your health. All things to do with your circadian rhythm, your sleep patterns, your immunity, hormone levels, Steve. What else are we covering?
Oh, we're covering everything that I went through when I was a chemist and I did shift work. The feelings, the diseases that can get, the physical health, the mental health.
Wow.
And also, weirdly, they're more exposed to more radiation.
Okay, that's very interesting.
I know.
Great. Well, let's break down the science, peer-reviewed information,
it is.
Steve,
It's
because
all
we need to be
peer-reviewed.
factual.
It is. Now, I want to start with what a circadian rhythm is. Now,
Is it the rhythm of the night?
Dancing in the rhythm of the night.
Oh, no, not that one.
Oh, not that one?
It is the rhythm of the night.
Oh, that one, yeah. Whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
that's terrible.
Terrible,
Steve.
terrible. So circadian rhythm is what the body naturally goes through and what it's supposed to go through. We're supposed to wake up in the morning. We're supposed to go to bed at night. And all these things happen throughout the day and the night. And I'll give you an example. We'll start at 7:30 in the morning. That's when your melatonin secretion stops. Remember melatonin? That's the hormone that sort of puts you to sleep.
Right. At 7:30 in the morning.
7:30 in the morning, the secretion, it slows down, then stops at 7:30.
Right. And now obviously, Steve, this is what about people that are living in the Antarctic or people that are living real north or real south?
They're screwed.
Oh, okay.
We're going to get to what's going to happen to them.
Oh, okay.
It's not good, not pretty. Night shift work is not pretty. It's bad.
Right.
There's no other way to say it.
Right.
We're going to give you some solutions towards the back of what you can do.
Yeah.
But it's not, we're polishing a turd, if we can say that.
Ah.
It's not a good
You're doomed.
thing.
You're going to die.
Well, yeah. Because
No, you're not.
because-
we've got some ways to help you, Steve. We've got some cool tricks, right?
we've got some great tricks. So let's say you finish work at 7 o'clock in the morning, like I used to.
Yep.
Melatonin secretion stops at 7:30. But the worst things happen at 8:30. Guess what that is? That's when your bowels become active and you have a bowel movement.
Right.
So you don't want to be asleep during.
No.
There's a problem with that.
No, well, that's my mum says that all the time. She goes to the toilet at 7:30 every morning.
Yeah,
but the problem is she doesn't get out of bed till 8.
Right, okay,
So,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you get highest testosterone secretion around 9. You're alert. You're most alert at 10 a.m.,
The old
which is
morning
right
shag,
now.
Steve.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
No, I'm married though, so I don't need any of that.
No, never again.
No.
Sleep in separate rooms soon.
Yeah, well, what we do is because
And then it'll be separate houses.
My wife is a shift worker, so for 2 nights of the week, I am in a different room.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. It's not
that's
good.
not good.
Not good. But anyway, your highest alert at 10 a.m., your best coordinated at 2:30, which is all these times you're asleep. You're missing all this.
Wow.
Your fastest reaction time is at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
So the fastest reaction time?
Yeah.
3:30 in the afternoon.
Crazy stuff.
Huh.
So these are all sleeping times. And then you might wake
Gradient
up
cardiovascular efficiency and muscle strength at 5.
5.
So the 5 o'clock gym bunnies, you got it right.
You got it right.
Wow. So again, this is where we're talking about fat loss.
Yep.
Fasted cardio first thing in the
Yep,
morning,
yep.
especially with some of your enhancement supplements.
Yep.
And
Lots of those.
Yep. And then do your strength training at 5 o'clock in the evening.
It's perfect.
Wow.
It works out perfect. Highest body temperature at 7 at night. And so this is a circadian rhythm.
Yep.
Melatonin secretion starts at 9 when
So
you're
what I
supposed to
mean,
be asleep.
I appreciate not one size fits all, but what time should you be going to sleep then, Steve? And what time has this got you waking up in the morning?
Okay, so the best time to go to sleep, melatonin secretion starts at 9 o'clock.
At night.
Yeah.
So
Right on 9, no, but around 9 o'clock you have melatonin secretion.
Yeah.
Your deeper sleep's at 2 a.m. in the morning.
right.
And then you get a sharpest blood pressure rise at 6:45 a.m.
This is when the heart attacks happen.
Yep.
Yep.
They call it the heart attack time.
Yep.
So that's why people wake up and have heart attacks, because you get that sudden surge.
Yeah.
And if it's too much for the thing. So around about from 9 till about 5 in the morning is totally fine to sleep.
Right.
That's the best time, because then after that everything starts to creep up.
So and the amount of sleep that you should be having, again, Steve-O, the old adage was 8 hours.
8 hours. Well, 7 hours is enough.
7 hours
It really
is enough.
is. And it's all about quality of sleep.
Yeah.
And remember the 4 stages of sleep? I was going to say sleep, REM, but it's REM,
yeah.
REM and non-REM sleep, and you've got different stages. Stage 3 non-REM sleep is the deepest sleep. That's when you secrete the most growth hormone to recover for the next day.
Yeah, it's cool.
And guess what happens when you do shift work?
You don't get that.
You don't get that. It's one of the
Flat
problems
lines?
with it.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of the problems. Because you don't sleep as well. Now, you could argue that, but someone does, but most people don't.
Yeah. So actually talking about growth hormone production as well too, you can take amino acids that can actually help to significantly improve the amount. And that has a lot to do. Yeah. But that has a lot to do with also the wave that you get as well too. So you take, what did you say? Arginine,
ornithine.
I've heard others as well too, Steve, but I can't remember.
Glutamine does it too.
Glutamine helps a little bit. And I forget what the protocol is. I'll have to look it up. But a friend of mine was doing it and he was trying it and he was taking an amino acid before he'd go to bed. And he said the depth that he got, but equal opposite reactions.
Yes.
Right? So we're typically, so if this is consciousness and you go here and you come down and you have
that's right.
And you sort of wave and you slowly go down, right? And then you come up.
Yep.
So what would happen though, it would come down so deep that you'd actually wake up again. Yeah. And he would wake up about 45 minutes after he would have it. And he would literally wake up like he's going, I'm ready to get out of bed. Yeah. I'm so awake and alert. Yeah. 2 minutes later, he'd be back to sleep again. Yeah. So it would come up and then go boom, and then come back down again and have deeper levels of growth hormone. So for those that are looking to enhance growth hormone, I'll find out those amino acids, but you're saying arginine and ornithine? Just got to be careful you don't take too much arginine, Steve.
No, you don't want too much vaso-flushing in the gut and all that, and around the body a bit.
Yeah.
But also you can take melatonin that helps you get the growth hormone release.
Okay, melatonin,
And there are drugs to do it too. The Mogadon long-acting benzos have been found to induce growth hormone.
Mogadon?
Mogadon.
I thought that wasn't a dinosaur. Is it a dinosaur?
Dinosaur, is it? Mogadon.
Yeah.
It sounds like a dinosaur.
It does, doesn't it?
It's an old drug, so it's a dinosaur drug. It was developed in the 70s. But it's a very long-acting benzo, and people use it for growth hormone release.
Cool.
It's one of the effective ones for chronic fatigue. So that's a circadian rhythm, and that's a healthy rhythm. And, of course, that's out the window when you're on shift work because all that time your bowels are suppressed, deep asleep as when you're awake. I did 2 months of this and it freaking almost killed me, and I was in my early 20s.
So we know that some of the things, if you are doing shift work and you can't get out of it, make the room as dark as possible.
Yes, hygiene sleep.
Yep, make sure that you so really dark curtains, black it out. Maybe take some melatonin before you go to sleep as well too. I mean, obviously magnesium is really good. Zinc magnesium is really good to take before you go to bed, just to relax the muscles and all that sort of stuff. What else, Steve?
I've got a whole lot of cool stuff, but later
we'll talk a bit later on.
I want to give you all the bad news first.
Raining on you. Okay, well,
I've got some good stuff coming, but I want to give you the bad news. Now, the great population to test on all this stuff is the nurses.
Yeah.
So my wife listens to this. She's a nurse.
Yep.
Does shift work. So luckily she just does day and afternoon shift. She doesn't do night shift. So it's just a bit weird, but not like the most night shift workers because they test them. Yeah, look, there's really bad news. You get social and family relationship problems. Your risk factors for stress go up, sleep disorders, metabolic disorders, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and that one we can't mention that disease, but it's quite a bad one.
Breast
problems.
See you later.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. But we can mention it, can't we, Steve?
I don't know. I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
Could be shot. People could come down from the ceiling and shoot us, but we'll say it, cancer.
All right.
Yeah, because we're not talking about treating it. We're talking about
it's just a fact.
Yeah. It's just a fact. Just the facts, man.
And melatonin is a thing that protects that against that disease, and you don't get that release at night.
All right, you'll be shot now.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so nice knowing you, Steve.
Yeah, it was good knowing me.
Yeah,
but you know what? Remember, you can't with these studies. These are what they call observational studies.
Yeah,
you can't tell someone, for the next 5 years, stay up, wait, or awake all night, because what they've got to do is they take the populations that are already staying up late.
Yeah, makes sense.
There is a rat study in here where they forced them to stay awake and to find out what happened.
Yeah,
and it's bad news too.
Dirty rat.
Yeah, dirty rats. So they kept them up all night.
Yeah,
actually, they kept them off during the day. And these type of rats slept during the day normally. So
so they're nocturnal.
Yeah. And so what they did was they kept them up all day. If that makes sense, because that's when the researchers were there. It made it quite convenient.
Oh, it is convenient.
They'd poke them every night. No, they just gave them a mild electric shock.
Oh, what do you do, you rat?
They poked them.
Oh,
they gave them a mild, unpredictable electric shock.
Is that what you call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Why you dirty rat, you? So they're the problems we know, and this is a systemic review talking about shift work in nurses. So that's really, really problem stuff. Now, probably the major issue with shift work is mental health.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to go into physical health, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, that's in there. But the real problem with this is mental health, and that's simply because it just takes you out of your normal routine to a great extent.
So the philosophy, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but one of the things that sleep does is it helps to detoxify the brain.
Yes, it does.
So obviously, as you're thinking and walking around and all the rest of it, your body's producing byproducts, right?
Yep.
Now, like everything, that has to be cleansed.
Yes.
When you sleep, your body actually helps to detoxify the brain.
It does.
Right. So is this part of the problem?
It is. Glymphatic system is activated at night. I didn't say lymphatic system. I said glymphatic system.
Lymphatic, right.
So it's a great system that cleanses the brain. That's one of the things. The other problems with this is, of course, that these circadian rhythms are completely disrupted. Remember, yes, melatonin is increased at night, but so serotonin is also increased at night.
Right.
And that's a hormone that keeps you happy.
Right.
Okay, so during the day or in the morning, serotonin is suppressed. So it makes you more alert to go out and hunt, gather your food, go to the gym and all that sort of thing. After about 5 at night, it starts to creep up to relax you and sedate you, and then you go to sleep with melatonin and adenosine. That's released. So you get this great rhythm. You get these three things, melatonin, serotonin, and you get adenosine release, and that puts you to sleep, and they're very, very good for your brain. Noradrenaline and dopamine comes out during the day.
Yes.
Now, that's completely screwed up.
Right.
It's like we're not designed for that. That's just like, that's weird. And so we have to. You know, if you're doing night shift, like I remember when I worked in the lab and I'd have to go out and get the sample and test the sample on the hour every hour. Very exciting job. The first thing I realized is how long the night is.
Yeah, right.
It just goes on and on forever.
Yeah.
And
it feels like that.
It feels like that. It really is depressing. And then, of course, I get home, and I was living with my family at the time, so I'd go to bed, they'd go to work at 7:30. And of course, during the day, you don't believe how noisy things are.
No,
you know,
it's
not people going, you know, people just next door talking.
Yep.
Cars starting up.
Yep.
You know, either garbage is collected, people walking their dogs by, a bit of bark and this, and really, it is so disruptive. Now, I only had 2 months of this, so people are going to say, "Oh, I did 50 years of it." Yeah, but I had a sample of it.
So this happened when you were working in the lab.
Yeah, working in the lab
late one night.
Yeah, no, every night.
Oh.
I did 2 months of this. It was shocking. Actually, it got better towards the end of it, the 2 months, but at the start it was horrific.
Right.
Because it's like, well, let's say you're told right now you've got to go work night shift. So, okay, I'll go to sleep now. You have a nap for maybe 30 minutes and you wake up and it's like, oh, feel worse. But then as the night creeps in, remember, I used to start 11, finish at 7.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. So you couldn't get it. And at that time in my life, I was going to bed at 11 and getting up at 7.
Whoa.
So if I was a machine, and theoretically you just say, oh, just swap your sleep for your wake time, and that's what I thought it'd be like. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. 30% extra. I was broke at the time. So you get a 30% pay rise for night shift loading. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. It's like, still went over and saw the girlfriend till 10:30 at night, left her place, went to work. You know, and so I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. How good is this? No traffic. And it was horrendous. It was.
So how long into it, Steve, before you went, you know what? No.
Oh, about 3 hours. I'm not joking. I was going there and I'm going, oh, so tired. You know, and like.
And had you slept through the day that day?
Of course not. I'm an idiot. I was a 21-year-old idiot. Yeah, you remember when you're 21, you're so healthy, you don't think of that sort of stuff.
But your brain actually hasn't stopped developing yet. It doesn't stop developing until you're 25.
No, so men's 55, I think. Look, I remember, because I remember trying to do the simplest task at 4 a.m., which is just measuring, you know, the phosphate level of this detergent. And it's like during the day you go blah, 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 blah. And at night I had to go, oh, how do I do this? Oh, and I was just slow.
Wow.
I was completely, you know, mentally decaying. And then 7 o'clock came around and light here, and that was a relief. And you feel a bit more awake because, you know, it's 7 in the morning and you know the time and you're conscious and you see the sun, and then you go home and you go to sleep.
But you decided after 3 hours it's not for you, but you lasted 2 months.
Well, that was the person that was doing the night shift had 2 months off.
Right.
So I had 2 months on. And so I as I said, I was naive to it. I didn't know. And I feel for the nurses and the police and the ambos and the night shift workers. It's horrendous. And I can only imagine, like, my job was in a lab testing chemicals, so it was fairly boring. But if you're an ambo working night shift, you're going to horrifically stressful events.
Paramedic for our American friends, yep.
Yeah, paramedic, yeah. So really screwed with my brain, and I will never forget it. And that was, you know, over 30 years ago. So it was incredibly, incredibly tough. And that's why the night shift workers get incredibly bad mental health. But there was this study was very interesting because it seemed to affect females worse. Night shift.
Why?
They developed vastly more depression. Yep. Obviously, it was probably to do with their, they suggested estrogen. Estrogen was dysregulated when they measured it. The estrogen levels were all over the place. Now, and women rely on estrogen to convert tryptophan through to serotonin, which keeps you happy. Now, if your estrogen levels are all over the place,
Tryptophan still happening?
yes, you would be making, kynuric acid, which is not good, and quinolinic acid from the tryptophan. So it caused major problems, particularly in women, which was quite. And this is very interesting because if you're thinking of doing night shift, then and the nurses study confirmed this, and most nurses are women, about 80 to 90%. But
it affects women more.
It gets worse. You get depression. Now, I'll give you a question, and this is for the viewers out there.
Oh, can I answer it though?
You can answer it, yeah. Who gets dementia more, men or women?
Well, by the sounds of it, it sounds like women.
Yeah.
Is it?
It does. Right. They get more Alzheimer's.
Right.
There's many reasons for that.
You've got to be very careful because you can't make any jokes about that.
But it's facts, and facts don't care about the feelings. So women get more dementia. They suffer more through shift work. And it now turns out that night shift increases dementia risk.
Man,
that's a biggie. Yeah. This was published out of Italy, and it was published in 2021. Wow. So we're just finding out that if you like night shift, good on you for getting extra shifts and the 30% loading. But just be aware that it will increase dementia risk. Now, the mechanisms are really fascinating with this. It surrounds melatonin.
Right.
Because melatonin is protective against dementia.
Huh.
So, look, most people take about 3 milligrams a night. It's used to help with sleep, but also it may protect against these sorts of nasty illnesses if you're doing shift work. I mean, I've got some more solutions for shift work later, but this is, dementia. I mean, that's a bad.
You don't want that one.
No, that's a bad. I've got a weird one here. It's to do with.
That's what your wife said. Sorry, I couldn't help. Yeah, that is strange.
That is strange. Now, we've talked a lot about, we love bugs here, don't we, the microbiome?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So we love our microbiome so much that we should give up our shift work.
Yes, we do. It's like, yes, we do.
We love the microbiome.
Love the bugs. Yeah, we do love
We love the bugs.
Yeah.
And we all talked about Bacteroides and the 𝗪𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏
typically that we don't have enough of. I mean, it's about ratio.
Yeah.
And the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗂𝒐𝒻 don't make you firm and cute.
That's right.
They make you ugly and fat. So if we just remember that as a basic rule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And guess what night shift does?
Oh, increases 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗂𝒑𝒂𝒃.
It increases 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝒂𝒃.
And it's all about the ratio, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you need some 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝒂𝒃s, otherwise, you probably wouldn't want to eat your stuff.
This is from a 2020 paper, and it says the bacterioloids were reduced and the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗂𝒑s were increased when working the night compared to the day shift.
Does it say by how much?
It does later on the paper there. It was a significant percentage. It was P05, so it was quite significant.
Right.
They don't count the bugs. They just look at the ratios. So that's quite disturbing because what we know and what we're going to learn about later is that if you do night shift, you are more prone to obesity.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, why is that? It's because when you're tired, you eat more.
Why is that?
Because your serotonin is dysregulated, which regulates appetite.
Yeah.
So you'll find that people who eat more when they're tired. And also, night shift, what they found when they were and I didn't put this in the studies, is they found that night shift workers, while they work, their productivity was a lot less because they're like, most of them are sort of
a bit of a zombie.
Now, that's not police and all, that's
we're not, we love zombies, so that's not against zombies.
Yeah, they just ate more brains at night. That's what the zombies did.
Yeah, don't stereotype, Steve.
And they also tried to get. Are
we allowed to say zombies?
Is that all right?
Are we going to get taken by the Zombie Association?
I didn't know.
They're going to sue you, Steve.
Some offensive comment about zombies.
Exactly. No, you can't say that.
I don't know. No. We species.
People might get offended.
Yeah.
Actually, zombie enablers who love zombies might get offended on behalf of zombies.
I mean, I was going to make a gag about vampires, but I thought, no, there's some vampire group out there that's going to write in and say,
absolutely.
Because vampires love night shift.
Yeah.
It's true. They do.
You know what? But they're just bloodsuckers. But anyway.
Oh, that's a bit nasty. Well, actually, they are. That's how they feed their fangy things. You know, they just don't feed on garlic or anything, do they?
No.
I remember the Bram Stoker TV shows and all the movies of Bram Stoker and the book. I read the book in primary school.
But based on Ivan the Terrible, actually. He used to impale people on spikes.
Yeah.
So he was
the Impaler, wasn't he? It was called something Impaler, Vlad the Impaler.
Wasn't it? Oh, yeah, Vlad. It is Vlad. Not Ivan. Yeah. I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, well, you're probably thinking Ivan Milat, who was another bad.
Ivan the Terrible.
Ivan the Terrible.
Versus, yeah.
Oh, God.
Vlad the Impaler.
So
Such cool names. Steve, maybe we should make
Yeah, I know. I want to be called
Jeff
Vlad.
the Impaler. And you could be Steve the Small and Stout.
That's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So if you got more firmicutes,
Can we please make this scientific?
I know.
Let's talk about zombies and vampires. And
I love vampires. You know? Yeah. But so when you got more firmicutes, stop laughing. You suck more, just to get the vampire, you suck more calories out of your food. I'm just trying to keep the vampire thing. Yes, so you eat the apple and instead of 100 calories, it's 120 calories.
120. Do you remember Sesame Street where it did that?
The count.
It'd get to like, you know, after 120, it'd be like, and then the lightning and the...
I think Brooklyn's too young for the count.
You don't remember?
Yeah. Oh, you do? Oh, right.
1, 2 apples. Yeah.
I always found him an Italian vampire. I thought he sounded Italian.
Sort of looked more like Greek to me.
Yeah.
He did scare me. What?
Have we offended someone there too?
Yeah.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, we've...
Oh, jeez. So I want to suck more calories out of your food with the firmicutes. And that's what it does.
Right.
So they're eating, let's say they eat the same as a day shift worker. They're going to be... Why is she crying?
I don't know. Something about you. Yeah.
Well, you know, it just does. And of course, it increases future metabolic risk. And also gastrointestinal pathology.
Right, what does that mean?
Oh, it means you get more IBS, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis if you do a night shift.
Yeah.
It's just bad news, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
Yeah.
So you know, this is the problem with these. So, you know, stuffs your gut up. Another one. Now, there is another study here where they found where the night shift people actually had more screen time. Now, I went,
that
what?
Makes sense.
Yeah. It didn't at first to me because I'm thinking, why? And I'm thinking, oh, that's because they're not building a house at night or mowing a lawn at night or doing an outdoor job at night. They're usually in front of a screen at night. And so we found that screen time, as well as diet and physical activity, was associated with bad gut microbiome.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, what do they mean by screen time? And Matt, who records all this for the people who know, who's sitting over there now, I said to him yesterday, I went, oh, you know, I had to read into the papers, and you know what it was?
What?
It was screen time on a mobile phone.
Yeah, of course.
And guess what comes out of a mobile phone apart from light?
Propaganda.
Radiation.
Oh, radiation.
And
so close.
And what we found, and this is going to look bad on if you're listening to us, but if you think about sitting on a couch or on your bed with a phone in your hand, just imagine this, and you've got it resting where?
On your crotch? I don't know.
Down that way.
Yeah.
On your belly.
Right.
Let's say. So you're sitting there like with it on your belly.
Oh, I don't know. You were kind of like looking down there.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
nothing significant in the crotch area anyway.
No, it keeps slipping off. His keeps falling over.
Yeah. It doesn't rest against anything.
As my son likes to call it, he calls it a front crack.
Yeah. So anyway, you've got your mobile phone in the nether regions, and it's right near your gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And the radiation comes out there and kills your microbiome.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Well, so hang on, wait. So when you're resting your phone, it's killing your microbiome because you're resting it on your... Is that to do with electromagnetic...
Radiation. The title of the paper, it's published in the Journal of Microbiology. It says the response of human bacteria to static, magnetic field and radio frequency electromagnetic field.
Wow.
So... Yeah, well, I mean, when you think about it, it doesn't make, you got to remember that the waves are very small that come out of a phone. So we can call them microwaves. That's the wavelength of them. I'm not being weird.
Yeah.
And that actually kills bugs.
Right.
So it causes toxicity. So it does change the microbiome.
Wow.
It says, and I'll read from the paper so I don't get in trouble. These findings led us to hypothesize that cell phone level of radio frequency disrupts human skin microbiota, and that's the ones they tested.
Yeah.
And also in the because you can't test the microbiome in your gut very well, so they just tested the skin, and they said, well, it's going to get into the gut as well because radio waves go through people.
Right.
Oh, but have to. Otherwise, you put your phone up to your ear, and if your tower's on the opposite side, it will cut out.
But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I'll read from the literature so we get quoted correctly. Remember, the WHO about 10 years ago said that
The WHO?
The WHO,
Right, the World Health Organization.
I should say, yeah,
Yep.
not the band, the WHO.
No.
No.
Well, what would they know?
Roger Daltrey and
No.
Oh, geez.
They wouldn't know anything about health, really.
No. And so the World Health Organization classified radio waves from a phone as possible carcinogens, which is 2B.
Right. Okay.
A recent study, well, when I say recent, 2015, said it's now a 2A carcinogen, which is
What's that?
a probable carcinogen to humans.
So how then? I mean, it's the same, okay. So people aren't going to stop using mobile phones, right? It's part of our culture. It's how we deal with things. Same as smoking. Now, I actually really respect the right of individuals to smoke, even though we know 100% you can go buy a pack of cigarettes. And it's not, but this is where I think we need education and information. And this is where I think health departments can be working with the public to educate them on the risks.
Yes.
Because I don't think most people would look at their phone and go, oh, that is a known carcinogen or something that could potentially upset my health.
No, that's right. And of course, as the frequencies get higher, which is 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G is the highest frequency, it becomes more dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. And
why?
Because the shorter the wavelength of a frequency, the more damage it does to a particular cell. Now, I'll use white light, right? And I'll just use that as an example.
Yep.
If you think
it's quite big waves.
Yeah. There's big wave. Let's look at light. There's a spectrum.
Yep.
Okay. It goes from red, which is longer waves, to violet, which is shorter waves.
Right. Ultraviolet.
And ultraviolet is even shorter than that, and that's very dangerous for humans. We know that's a carcinogen. And anything beyond that with regards to waves is a known carcinogen.
But you can still get exposure to that in small amounts, but not be harmful. In fact, it can be beneficial, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Like an X-ray is even higher frequencies than that, and that goes through people, doesn't go through bone. That's why it shows up bone, of course.
Yep.
And a little of that to make sure they set your leg right is completely legitimate.
But you watch the doctors and nurses and dentists that use it, they're all freaking out and putting on Kevlar vests.
Of course they are.
But you're fine. No, but that's because obviously they're doing it really frequently.
Correct.
So you just don't want to be. I mean, Madame Curie worked that out, right?
Oh, yes, she did. And I think it was 1904 when she was.
Actually, that's a good movie if people are interested to.
Oh, there's a movie about her.
Yeah, there's a movie about her. Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, Madame Curie was, kept some radium beside her bed.
Yeah.
But you got to remember back then, X-rays. No, didn't know. And she used to drive around. She was one of the first ambulance people to X-ray people in World War I.
Yeah.
She would drive around and X-ray them to see if they needed their leg amputated or not. So this was incredible research at the time.
It was awesome.
But nobody knew the problem with it.
That's right.
So with phone radiation, of course, what they found in this study is that it destroys the gut microbiome and the skin microbiome. And we know this because you can just test the skin.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. You've got a radiation source. Of course, it's going to kill microbes. I mean, ultraviolet light kills microbes.
Right.
But
that can be used for cleansing things.
It does.
Which is actually pretty
and
good.
in fact, there's some, weird controversial treatments where it kills viruses. But it does kill viruses, ultraviolet light.
Oh.
And because ultraviolet light, you remember, to sterilize water, you use ultraviolet light.
Right.
If you don't want to flavour the water. There was a product that I made that I worked at it. And
it will purify it from pathogens. But it won't purify it from aluminium and
won't take anything
whatever
out.
else, lithium, whatever else they're putting in the water.
That's right. And so the higher the radiation, the more deadly it'll kill bugs. And goes to the point where you can get something called gamma radiation, which is right off the very, very, very dangerous, well-known bad carcinogen.
But it creates incredibly superhuman green monsters.
It does.
Because it was gamma radiation that made the whole...
That's right.
Yeah,
it was
totally fine.
Totally. So it is fine for humans.
In fact, it could have beneficial
effects.
Yeah.
You get better than
Have you ever seen the X-Men and that's...
come
on, Steve.
I know.
Mutations are good.
And if you get bitten, what if you get bitten by a radioactive spider then?
Well, Steve, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bad. This is all rubbish then. I thought I was going to say how bad radiation is.
No, anyway, okay, yeah. But seriously, that's in movies. In real life, you die.
Yeah. And gamma radiation is used to sterilize surgical instruments.
Right.
That's how good it is to kill things. But so the phone, going back to the phone, and this is what they found, it's simply because of the amount of time people are on the phones these days, as you correctly pointed out.
Well, it's funny, Steve, because I look at the amount of time that I'm on the phone, and it's about 2 hours per day.
Wow.
Yep. Now, that doesn't mean that could be writing emails, that could be responding to text messages, that could be phone calls or what have you. I reckon I would probably be one of the least people in this, well, anywhere in the world. But no, I reckon that most people would probably be upwards of 6 hours a day.
That wouldn't surprise me. I've got a mate who sort of doesn't watch much TV and just plays it on the phone.
Wow.
Watches YouTubes and, because it's a phone, it's just there. And so that's quite dangerous, and now we know it stuffs up your microbiome because typically you've got your phone there. Now, here's the way around that is if you can, keep its distance. So try and, if you're going to use it.
Well, there's a really cool book called Radiation Nation where it talks about, and one of the things he spoke about was distance, and he also said signal strength. Yeah. So the other problem is if you've got a very low signal strength where it's, say, flipping between 3 and 4G or 4 and 5. I don't even know where 5G is going at the moment. Anyway, but I was going to say in terms of the strength of the signal can cause a problem.
Correct.
So if it's weak, it actually works harder. The receivers work harder, which can actually amplify the amount of radiation that you're actually receiving.
It's absolutely true.
But there's a good book if you guys want to look into it. It's called Radiation Nation. So
if you've ever been in a very low, like I do a bit of camping, and I put my phone, if I'm in a dodgy reception area, on flight mode at night. Normally I don't, but you put it on flight mode so it doesn't search for a signal. Because if it searches for a signal, the battery will be flat in the morning. That's how much power it tries to draw out to get out there. And
the other thing you mentioned was the proximity. Now, I've heard of people putting, their phones down their bras and, all the rest of it.
That's what I do.
I'm not surprised, Steve.
I've just got one more bit of bad news about 5G. I'm sorry to tell you. 5G is a much higher frequency, which carries more data, so you can get much faster speeds on your phone, which is great. That's important. That's good news. Yep. The only bad news is the higher the frequency, the less distance the signals travels.
That's right. And this is where they're talking about putting 5G antennas and boosters very close. Now, I heard in Australia that they've actually modified the technology where they've got, they can actually push it out a bit further. But I don't know. Well,
a little bit more power. Yeah. I mean, when you say a bit further, like a 4G signal goes about 20 kilometres.
Right.
A 5G signal goes at most half a kilometre.
Wow.
And you got to remember, like, I'm also a licensed amateur radio operator. So the frequencies that I talk on to talk around the world are really low frequencies. Like, how we talk about microwaves, which the wave's about that long. Oh. The one that I can talk on is 80 metre band, which has a wavelength of 80 metres. So the one wave is 80 metres long.
Oh, wow. One wave.
One wave.
I thought you meant you could talk 80 metres. That's like maybe.
Oh, no. You talk around the world. But like AM radio is about, what I'm just doing the maths, about 200 metres the wavelength. So it's very, very, very.
metres?
Yeah, that's how long the wave is.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's quite a long wave. FM radio, I haven't worked out, but it'd be about a metre or something.
Huh?
Oh, no. Yeah, about 2 metres maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are really that's why AM goes further than.
So they
FM.
talk shortwave and
that's shortwave radio.
Shortwave radio.
Yeah, I love all that.
Ah, that's cool.
Love it. So that's very safe wavelengths, but the higher the frequency is not. But because we are getting around the resonant frequency of water, which is around 20 gigahertz in water. So that's why the signal doesn't go through the air because there's a lot of water in the air.
Right.
Humidity. And so it just goes into the air. And so you have to pump it out again and put more power and more repeaters. And that's a problem.
Mm.
So and it's a higher frequency too. So that's the issue with frequencies, kills bugs. And night shift workers are more exposed to it.
And not all bugs are bad.
No. We want the bugs in our gut.
Yeah.
Now, this is probably the worst study I found about night shift is that it shrinks your midbrain.
It shrinks your midbrain.
It shrinks your midbrain. Now, midbrain, I've got a picture of a midbrain here. Maybe I haven't. Oh, yes, I have. There we go. Good. Now, the midbrain, I'm going to hold this up, so I'm sorry for the listeners.
Does it impact your pineal gland?
Yes.
That is what I'm learning about right now.
Yeah.
Just how important that pineal gland is. You know that they used to worship it in ancient culture, Steve?
Oh, they put the
pine cone. No. The pineal gland. I think even in the Vatican, they've actually got a what looks like a pine cone, but it's actually the pineal gland.
Huh.
Very bad. But anyway, go on, Steve. So this is part of the midbrain disruption.
Yeah, so if you think of if you look at a helmet, okay, it's kind of the shape of a brain. And if you think of something that stems right from the middle of the bottom of the helmet, that's where your midbrain is. It's a little slicey. I'm going to show a graphic here for the people who watch us. And if you don't watch us, by the way, Jeff and I are very good looking, so do jump on and watch it.
It's true.
Brooklyn, don't write that down as a lie. It's a fact. So there's a picture of the midbrain.
I'd like to see a peer-reviewed study on that.
Yeah, I think so too.
You'd fail.
So the midbrain is associated with vision, hearing, motor control, which is, sleep and wake cycles, alertness, and temperature regulation. So if that gets screwed up, the grey matter of that shrinks on night shift.
Wow.
So you're going to have a problem with your sleep, wake cycles, alertness, temperature regulation, vision, hearing.
So grey matter, Steve, does what? Because you often hear he's lacking a bit on the grey matter.
Yeah, there's two matters in the brain, the grey and white, and they're both are parts of the brain, and the grey matter just makes up a large portion of the midbrain and shrinks that.
Wow.
So it's a bit scary. And this is not, this one I went, should I even talk about this? It's published in 2016, and they did shift workers had significantly less grey matter in the midbrain. So that's a bit of a scary one, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, who wants their brain shrunk?
Well, not me.
Not me. So you got to remember that's what the midbrain does, and that's a bit concerning. The other thing we know about shift work is it stuffs up your metabolism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's lots of studies on this. A meta-analysis came out in 2019 which showed that there's an increased risk of type 2 diabetes.
Well, and going back to that, Steve, I mean, if people are eating more, they're probably going for comfort foods and snack foods because obviously they're out and about.
Yep.
Obviously, if it's stuffing up your 𝗪𝗏 and your bacteroidetes, you're looking at insulin resistance.
That's
so it's very easy to see why there would be a high rate of type 2 diabetes in that population.
It gets worse. They also don't exercise as much, night shift workers.
Right.
And now that could be fatigue. They go, can't be bothered. But they don't. And also...
If their adrenals are flatlining, which it sounds like they would,
they are,
so then they just feel tired
all the time.
So they wouldn't want to go and train.
No, they don't want to train. They're tired all the time.
And they're probably using stimulants like coffee to keep them going.
Yep.
Which would further burn out their adrenal.
Yep.
So they'd be adrenally exhausted.
Yep. And I used to drink those energy drinks towards the end of the night. And when I say energy drinks back then, it was Coca-Cola. Like full sugar Coca-Cola. This is before I studied naturopathy. I was a scientist. So I didn't know, or even at that point of the night, care what I was drinking. I just needed to stay awake so I wouldn't get fired. And so, I just had they had 1.25 litre bottles of Coke. I'd keep it in the fridge with all the other chemicals.
Jeez.
And just make sure I drink the right black thing before.
You probably would have been better off drinking some of the other chemicals, Steve.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
you can't say that.
Yeah. It was also in the lab. You got to remember that.
Are you red petting that? Oh,
we used to use to extract detergents or the surfactants out of it. We used to use chloroform.
Huh. So, how'd you meet Beck?
so all night I'm dicking around with chloroform trying to stay awake.
Right. That's not real good.
No.
Did you ever, like Matt's joke, hey, does that smell like chloroform? Did you ever do that to any of your mates?
In the lab, I did make 𝗙𝗏𝗃𝗁𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 once. TNT, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. And
how did that go?
It popped. I made a little drop of it and then just put a current across it and it popped.
Wow.
I was 18 when they let me loose with all these chemicals. So of course I made TNT.
So nitro and glycerin.
Yeah,
I made nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide.
And glycerin.
Yeah, and you just
that glycerin's the easy part.
Well, I used to be working in a soap factory.
Yep.
So there's like you meet animal intestines and brains and everything, and you boil it up with caustic soda.
Yeah.
You get two things out of it, soap and glycerine.
Wow.
So we used to get the glycerine and we get tons of it and we'd just sell it on. But I used to get
sell it to?
But you get nitric acid with that and it does turn into,
right.
Nitric
so where do you get nitric oxide from?
Oh, you can get nitric oxide, you can get it from your dentist if you want. Or from, I don't know if they still put it in cars.
Huh.
Nitric oxide? Yeah, they do to make cars go faster. If you watch Fast and the Furious, nitrous.
Yeah.
So that's laughing gas too. But we used to use nitric acid. They used to, put a nitrate thing on the glycerine.
Bang.
Yeah, getting bang. Oh, it was just dumb things you did.
Yeah.
Another guy there that was about my age, we used to do other dumb things. We'd put different acids on our hand and see which one could hold it out the longest, like a drop of acid. You wouldn't believe the stupidity of stuff. But you're 18 and you're a male and your brain is about the size of your palms, which is the whole brain. It's like this tiny little.
Yeah.
So,
but as I said, it's up until about 25 that men's brains actually stop developing. Women's brains do stop developing faster. They actually reach a level of maturity. So it's not just theoretical, and also risk taking in males as well too. There's something in the brain as well too that's there, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what it is.
Well, I know I used to risk take as a kid. We used to watch 𝗘𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗶 and 𝗘𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗁 and all these things, and we'd try and emulate them after school. Got a big scar on my elbow trying to jump 4 rubbish bins. I can jump 3, by the way.
No,
that was a limit.
Not 4.
Not 4.
Yeah.
Not 4. 3, yep. 4, no. Big crash. No helmet, nothing. Yeah. So getting back to diabetes, I mean, this is quite a scary thing because it increases the risk by about 10% on top of everything else. So it's significant, something you need to worry about. So a bit of a scary one, the old diabetes. Gets worse though.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, shift workers.
Jeez.
Yeah, increases heart disease as well.
Oh, why?
Because all this sort of stuff.
Right.
It feeds into heart disease. This is an Australian study published in Brisbane. And what they found was, and I like this study because it said after the first 5 years of shift work, there was a 7.1% risk of heart disease every 5 additional years of exposure.
Wow.
So imagine if you're a night shift worker for 30 years, 40 years.
You're going to be probably, the typical would be obese with diabetes and exhausted all the time.
Absolutely. Your quantity of life is going to be reduced because you're going to get heart disease, diabetes, and the other diseases we can't talk about.
Wow.
And then you're going to have a bad quality of life too because you're going to be tired all the time. You're going to be overweight. You're typically going to be, you're going to have, stuffed up hormones, stuffed up brain, mental health problems. So it's, as I said, it's a S, or can I say shit sandwich? Is that all right to say? It's a shit sandwich. It's just, but there is this final paper here.
Yes.
Where it says prevention of fatigue and insomnia in shift work is a review of the non-pharmaceutical measures. That's good, eh? So we have some solutions for these people.
Okay, what is it?
All right. The first one is just the pharmaceutical ones, modafinil.
Right.
That's a drug they're using for mental health disorders now, but it keeps you awake.
Right.
Not advisable long term, but see your doctor.
Yep.
And now the reason why modafinil in one study showed that it actually reduced death rates in night shift workers simply because they weren't falling asleep at the wheel.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in truck drivers that did night work in America. So, I mean, not advisable and all the caveats and that, but it reduces death.
Okay.
So let's go back to the pharmaceutical. The first one is exercise.
Well, as it should be. Second one should be diet, Steve, but anyway.
Second one is diet.
Yep.
But it comes down to what sorts of diets you want. Now things like cherries contain natural melatonin and are very high in antioxidants, and you want the things that also prevent these things like diabetes, heart disease, and inflammation, because you get more inflammation on night shift as well, which is just a part of the process, I guess. So and you want things that are very, very good for the brain as well.
Yep.
So fish.
Omegas. Yep.
Omegas are very good.
Yep.
Walnuts. Yep. Walnuts are very good for the brain.
Yep.
That's got.
It's funny. I love that doctrine of signatures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctrine of signatures is when something looks like something that it's.
Yeah. So you have a look at a walnut, kind of looks like your brain.
Slice a carrot and then look at it and you'll see it looks like an eye.
Yeah. I remember there was one person that we put that up on social media and they're like, how on earth does a carrot look like an eye? And it's like, when you slice it in half, you can sort of see the iris and they deleted their comment.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Because it's like, they obviously went, carrot looks like an eye.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What does a carrot look like? There can be doctrine of signatures.
I don't know, Steve, but you got problems if that's
that's what it looks like. I just asked the question. I'm just curious. So also with foods, also keep your firmicutes at a minimum. So nice soluble fiber foods.
Yep.
So it's really a healthy diet.
Fiber is important. We just did that podcast on the Raw CEO.
Yes.
Talking about that.
Yes.
Yep.
Fiber.
Fiber.
Also with supplements, of course, you want to be in antioxidants. So good old multivitamin made from foods, of course.
Yeah.
Melatonin is very good.
Yep.
So if you can't get it for whatever legal reasons, get it from your doctor. It's natural.
Vitamin D, Steve, because a lot, people would be inside a lot. They're probably not getting enough vitamin D from the sun.
One of the things you want to do is have exposure to bright light.
Right.
At the right time.
Right.
So, what you do is wake up in the afternoon. Like let's say you do what I do, wake up at 4 in the afternoon and try and get outside and do some exercise then. It's not, as I said, this is bad news, but this is what you can do to get around it. So you get out there and do your bright light. Now, if you usually go for a run and you wear sunnies, don't wear sunnies.
Yes. You need the light getting into the eye without the filter, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, sunglasses get rid of UV and we want a little bit of UV.
Yeah.
And that'll give you the vitamin D as well.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are vitamin D deficient, supplement with vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. The other thing we need to do is keep a regularity.
Right.
Now, I'm going to tell you something unpopular, but if you can sort of keep your night shift going over the weekend.
Good luck.
I know. It's just,
so many people have got families and,
and we're
it's
going to
just...
We're going to get emails saying that work for people.
Yeah.
It's not good. I mean, but I've got to take Johnny to soccer in the morning. Great. I mean, I totally get that, but this is what the studies are saying. So there's some good ones there. They did do one study on caffeine, and if you have caffeine in the afternoon when you wake up, that was beneficial for them to help sleep at night.
Right.
Help them get through.
Again, it helps to sort of create that wave, right?
Correct.
It helps create that wave.
Also, help being a male is a good thing too. Yep. Let's give that over.
Yep.
And also plan naps. So, for example, if you're doing a night shift and you get, say, an hour off for, what do we call it, lunch, dinner, midnight, whatever, try and get a nap then. Even a 20-minute nap seems to help. Mm-hmm. And so there are the things you can do to help. The regular exercise. And it's a little bit common sense, but try and, get out in the sun and do all those sorts of things. That's about all you can do if you're on night shift.
Yeah, and then again, pitch black room, white noise, Steve?
Well, if it helps you sleep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
I personally, I love white noise.
Yeah.
I find it a lot, especially if I'm having a little nap through the daytime or what have you. I put that on, it drowns out the sounds of kids and dogs and, all that sort of stuff going on. Rain. I like rain sounds actually. They're really, really relaxing.
Well, when Beck, when she moved in with me many years ago now, first thing I got was those block out lines.
Yeah.
And so when she does a night shift, she doesn't anymore because she's on the door now sort of saying, have you been to any of those COVID states? That's what she does as a nurse now. So, but when she was doing night shift, you have to sleep during the day. Mm-hmm. So you have the block out blinds, really black, and put something over your eyes. Make it as black as you possibly can. But again, it's not going to be good. Keep the radiation away. Don't worry about the time. Try not to be conscious of time because you may be thinking, it's midday, I should be up. And, those sorts of things. It's really tricky because someone could easily call you at midday. So turn your phone on silent.
Oh, don't even have your phone in the room.
Yeah.
Keep that away.
It's just...
and again, no TV before going to sleep. If you have to, maybe, read a book for something just for a little bit.
Yep. And don't
relax the brain.
Do not do what I did when I come home from work at 7 a.m, is have what my family had the night before, which is like a steak and vegetables, and then go to sleep with that in your stomach. That's not advisable. So this is about all you can do, or ask your boss to get off night shift. That's really, unfortunately, these stack of papers here are painting quite a bad picture.
Yeah.
And shrinking brains and diabetes and heart disease and other diseases. It's just it's
not good.
It's not good. And if you're going to do it, try and keep it going during the weekend, but you probably can't do that. It's really bad.
Yep.
I wish I had better news.
Well,
it's just bad news.
Just the facts, man.
Just the facts, yeah. That's why it is. But try those things we can do and, just see how you get on.
Well,
it's really
thanks,
interesting.
Steve.
Yeah,
That
thanks
is
for
interesting.
that.
Yeah.
And the phone, keep off the mobile phone. Because that'll stuff your microbiome.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Steve.
No worries. Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with some more.
Okay. See you next time.
Adios. Bye.
Yes, of course. Why didn't? There we go. I'll put a line through that.
Yeah.
You just, yes, that's right. So,
Is that a red pen? Oh my!
it's nuts. It's really nuts.
I know. Well, you've got the red pen out. You can cut all that.
Cut all that.
Oh, this is going to make a great podcast. Okay, there's just a lot of red pen.
A lot of red pen.
Okay, Steve.
Yes. Yep. I'm sure if there's, I know they
They can. It's a scientific fact. I don't know. I'm just making it up. So is everybody else while the red pen's out?
Oh, jeez.
All right, ready?
All
Let's
right,
go.
here we go.
Back on track.
All right. I'm going to look already in these photos now.
Okay.
All right.
Because that's what he said. That's what my 3-year-old said.
Did he?
It's like, yeah.
These guys are crying. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They.
Okay. Oh, red pen comes out.
Oh,
red pen comes out. It's not. He is. He totally is. He wants to kill everyone. Yeah. Anyway, go on, Steve. Yeah. You see how I set that up? That was awesome. Sorry, but yes.
Don't know if I can do that.
Oh, yeah, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.